Welcome, everybody, to our Scorpio new moon intention circle. It is November. I feel like I've been saying that every month for the last, not that it's November, but that we're amazed that we're in the month that we're in. Time is doing some really interesting things. And certainly this Scorpio new moon is no exception in terms of the strange and interesting energies that are afoot. Lots of change, lots of transformation. Belen's going to share details about that. I'm in a place that makes a lot of noise. Cut one.
We can't hear whatever's going on there.
We can't. I was loud in my ear. So before we get on to the details for this evening, I just wanted to let you know that we do have a beautiful self-paced guide that Velen created for us, which is designed to help you find and better understand how it is that each moon cycle impacts you personally. So because the new moon and the full moon show up in a particular sign, and you have a chart, your birth chart, that has particular houses in those signs, your areas of life are going to be impacted for you differently from perhaps what Belen is experiencing or what I'm experiencing or what your neighbor or your sister is experiencing. And so this guide, the self-paced mini course, allows you to really dig into what area of life is being impacted for you so that you can set intentions, so that you can support yourself, so that you can get clear about what the challenges are going to be for you in each moon cycle. So I encourage you to take a look at that on our website. And now I'm going to hand it over to Velen to read us this really fascinating Zora channeled message for us for this particular moon cycle.
Yeah, it was interesting, and even I just read it back because I haven't read it, and it's like, okay, well, here it is. So this is what I channeled for this particular new moon for this particular group. My dear ones, what is required at this time on your planet is not identifying with the chaos that is being represented in the external world, but rather the acknowledgement that there is an ability for each and every one of you to find that same chaos within. This guides you to your own deep truths and brings opportunity to transform all challenges into your own individual healing path. If each of you found your way to your own inner knowing and your own truth with compassion and courage as a collective effort, the external manifestation of the strife on your planet would cease. For all beings know the truth of grace, love, and harmony. It is there for all of you. At this time, each of you are supported to find a moment of peace within each day. Know that this action alone sends ripples of healing energy out into your world and creates both an inner and outer peace that is your own true evolutionary path.
Well, it's a little bit of a different message than they typically offer.
It is. It's very Scorpionic. So I guess that's all fitting.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And I love this idea that I mean, we knew this, but it just reminds us that our external is a reflection of our internal. So if we're seeing chaos out there in the world, there's an element of it within. And I love their guidance to find it, to seek it, and to focus on harmony each day. Love that. So that got folded into our intention, as you will see. And so we've got this new moon energy that is exceedingly transformative in Scorpio, with some mystery magic. And of course, for Scorpio, there's always a power element. called from the deepest part of us. So that's where we're going with the astrology today.
Mm-hmm. So this is the general Scorpio energy, and the skillful qualities, or the places where you can use this Scorpio energy to really work with your own personal healing and transformation. So some of the key pieces that we pulled out here is transcendent, connecting to the spiritual, honoring your intuitive sense, becoming your visionary for yourself, surrendering to the mystery, surrendering to the spirit. This is an energy that wants to go deep. It wants to understand what's going on underneath the surface. It wants to step into the spiritual knowing as part of your own path, and to engage in whatever you're passionate about. There's a passionate energy about Scorpio, and part of that is doing a deep dive into who we are, where we're going, what we need to release. The unskillful qualities, where we can get tripped up at times. Scorpio energy can become very secretive, very protective, or controlling. There can be drama, trauma, crisis around Scorpion energy. It can be very stuck. So the unforgiving pieces is the place where Scorpion energy can get really stuck in a way of seeing things. It can be judgmental. So there's a place here to recognize, and there are all these other words as well, being oversensitive, etc. So there's a place here to recognize when we're working with the Scorpio energy over the course of this month, but particularly the new moon, is to see where this comes up, to see where we doubt ourselves, to see where we might try to control things by being manipulative, where we're jealous, or even secretive in some ways that doesn't need to be. Anyways, it's one of those places where it's great to step into the magic, the mystery, the spiritual, but it's also really appropriate for the Scorpio energy to actually look inside and see where some of the shadow pieces are coming up for ourselves. Oh, you're muted, Sasha.
Yeah, I'm muted. I can see that. I was just going to say that some of that secretive piece might even be self-deception.
Oh, 100%. If you're not seeing yourself, could totally be. Yeah.
Keeping secrets from ourselves, from our conscious awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Scorpio really does want to look at what's going on beneath the surface, and we turn that inward. There's lots that we can, if we can harness the courage, which I'm going to talk about for this new moon, harness the courage, then we actually get to see all sorts of different pieces of ourselves. So this is from our journal, which the new one will be started soon. Really, it's just been too busy this particular time of life. So the Scorpio energy assists in profound inner transformation, an easeful relationship with intuition, true intimacy in life, connection to passions, the ability to forgive more easily, true sexual union with another, and sensing what is beneath the surface of situations. So once again, you can see a lot of this is inner, transformative, healing. There's an intensity to this energy that is offered for us to actually capitalize on, to make use of right now. So the exact new moon that we can use for our intention setting is actually on November 13th. And if anyone knows their chart and knows what's at 20 degrees of Scorpio, you can use your information to figure out what area of life this might be happening, or what other planet might be, connected to this. So the Scorpio energy in general is about embracing deep truths, and that can be deep emotional truths. So this is a really unique opportunity to harness the courage to face our fears and desires. And I'm saying it's unique because really close to this new moon, Mars joins the sun, and that only happens every approximately 30 years. I think it's every 32 years. So we are having an actual extra little hit of the courage that is going to give us that energy to step into what we might fear, and even sometimes the courage to look at what we desire. So this can be intense, but it offers a really deep perception for ourselves and deep healing. So this is a place where, just thinking about setting intentions, where you may seek to use this energy to really dig into something, some piece of your life that's, has been there and you've kind of put it off. This may be the moon to set an intention to take this courage that's being offered to us right now. Now, this moon is about awakening to our authentic self. It's about liberation, and it's connected to the planet Uranus. And Uranus is about breakdown, breakthrough. It's unexpected. So it can offer disruptions. It can shake us up, because sometimes that's what we need to break out of old patterns. So the opportunity to recognize that any disruption that may happen, or if setting intentions to not have to adhere to what you think your intention is, to be flexible enough that something unexpected happens, recognize that there is guidance back to our authentic self. That's what the disruption is about. That's where the awakening is happening. And often in this particular configuration, when a planet is opposite another planet, it's often through something external, many times through relationships with others, the mirror of, or just simply external events that are going to trigger some sort of awakening, some sort of new insights into yourself. And once again, Uranus wants you to be true to who you are. And there's a real freedom in that. So there's an embracing of this, even if it comes through in ways that aren't that comfortable, that aren't expected, they're out of the blue, you can't control, all these energies are happening. So to recognize that as this is going on, to accept the guidance that that's giving in terms of, wow, I need to look at myself in a new way, or I need to look at this situation with a different perspective. That's all being offered. And Uranus and Mars are really energized, high frequency, fast changes. So there's a place where when there's, I'm going to say, even jarring things going on, or if unexpected stuff that we have to be flexible, because if we're not flexible, we're going to break. So there's this place with this high energy and this disruptive potential, which is just asking us to look at things in a new way and to step into ourselves in a new way. We can't be rigid in terms of how we're seeing ourselves or how we're setting our intentions. This is a time to allow ourselves to bend with what's going on. Now, of course, Scorpio is a fixed sign, so there may be challenges to this, but it's that recognition, that remembrance. If something, let's just say you set an intention and it's not flowing the way that you're thinking, that's where you need to step into your own flexibility and to step into flow. And there is some stuff that's helping us with that. So the new moon conjunct Mars is about passion, it's about energy, it's about drive, it's moving, it's allowing us to use that energy productively. So often in astrology, they say, give Mars a job, because Mars is going to be active. It's going to be, so find what your passion is, use that to direct your energy. And there's a piece here about this new moon, is there's an opportunity here to see what needs to be released so that you can actually follow your passion. You can set your course. You can look to a new path. You can go your own way. That's all encompassed in this as well. So once again, in terms of intention setting, a great time to think, wow, there's something that I would really like to, put my focus on. This is a great time to set an intention for that. And recognize that the courage that is required is what's needed to align to what's right for you now, who you are now. So there's a place where that may not even be fully familiar. And once again, going back to the maybe disruptive in some way, but this is a courageous moon, and it allows us to go deep into ourselves so that we can really align to our true self, or see what's blocking us and let that go. This can be, with both Mars and Uranus, reckless or impatient energy. So even when you're setting intention, there's almost a requirement with this level of energy to pause, to breathe, to trust your inner voice, to trust your inner wisdom, to trust your intuition. And as you do that, find the guidance to what your passions are calling you to be, to do, to set a course for yourself. Now, there's a really interesting configuration that's happening in this new moon, and it has to do with something called Black Moon Lilith. And she is a feisty energy. And so there's this level of, once again, courage, and in this case, coming from the divine feminine. There's an opportunity here to use that energy to embrace our shadow, because through embracing our shadow, we actually get to bring it into the light, to empower ourselves through it, to allow the energy of what may have been repressed, suppressed, hidden, to be harnessed so that we can use that energy. So this divine feminine fierceness, to me, offers a huge opportunity to explore our inner truths, which is not always easy. And to tap into where to follow our passion, to follow our drive, to follow our energy as a guide to our own empowerment. So this, to me, with this the intensity of this energy that's happening with this new moon is about having the courage to see what's hidden in ourselves, to go into, or maybe not even hidden, but maybe just tucked down, drop in, connect to our inner self, recognize pieces that we can let go of now, follow what's driving us from our inner truth, because that's our place of empowerment. And it's an ability to claim what supports us to live our life authentically. So there's a real power in this somewhat disruptive, energetic, dynamic, exciting new moon, where we're being encouraged to find our authentic self in a whole new way, to recognize new pieces of ourselves. And there's a lovely piece of this, because a lot of what I've just said may feel challenging, may feel uncomfortable, may feel like a lot of energy moving through us that we may just have to breathe and bring that energy down a bit. But we do have an opportunity with this new moon to tap into our inner guidance. We're being supported to do that. And that's in our connection to the new moon's connection to Neptune. That's about dreams, it's our visions, it's our intuitive self. So there's a place here where all the intense energy that I've been speaking about can be released and softened through our intuition, or through our creativity, through our self-compassion, any way where we connect to source, whatever that is, listening to music, being in nature, anything where you can feel, I feel spirit move through me. That is going to be a beautiful way to soften or connect to the intensity of the energy and feel the spirit within it. And because it's a trine, I didn't actually put this in here, but there is a potential with any connection with Neptune to feel a little bit of confusion or indecision or uncertainty of what step to take. And I'm thinking, Mars, what's my next action? Ooh, I'm not really sure. Once again, the connection here is through your intuition, through your inner self, through that source whatever that is for you. That's where you can move forward with the correct action for yourself. Or it may just be to be. At this point, with all of this going on, there may be some moments where to pause and just be is actually the guidance that will tell you what the next step is, instead of rushing into something, which is potential with this new moon, is potential to just want to dive in, rush, you know, just jump into something. This is the pausing energy. And trusting your connection to the spirit realm, surrender to your own vision. That's Neptune. What's your vision for yourself? How do you connect with that? How do you feel that? That's the place to take action from. So even as we're thinking about all this and we're considering what what seed do we want to plant for this new moon, there's a place here about after we connect to source, connect to ourselves, feel where we want to go, align to who we really are, then there's a whole lot of energy in this Scorpio new moon to push you forward in courageous ways. So I think what the overall take when I pull those sort of disparate energies together is to pause and allow for that connection so that you can take the courageous step, so that you can set the new path, so that you can liberate yourself or have the courage to be more authentic in the path that you're setting or in the intention that you're setting. I think that is the main pieces that I pulled out for this one.
Love that. The thing I'm sitting with is that sense of surrender, including like when you talk about setting the new path. I feel like that's such an internal process at this point, right? And so taking a different action, the action is actually the internal, can be just seen as the internal decision, right? Making a decision to be differently, making a decision to acknowledge, for instance, if a person is feeling triggered by external events, right? There are certainly lots of events happening around the world that give so many people on so many different levels for so many different reasons opportunity to be triggered.
Yeah.
And so whatever that is for you, and maybe there are people on this call who are not experiencing that, but there's a pretty high percentage, I think, of folks out in the world. And if it's not you, it's somebody you know, or it's somebody you love, or it's your neighbor or your colleague or your business partner or your lover. Somebody out there is having a rough time. And I feel like this moon is so much about digging into our own individual triggers, like what is it why did I get upset by that person's post on Instagram? Why am I annoyed at my friend's perspective on such and such a thing? What is pushing my button around this, whatever it is. And I feel like there's an attitude shift opportunity here that Scorpio is really drawing us into ourselves to take that action of shifting our internal attitude about a situation where that situation is irritating or challenging for us because it's an opportunity for us to make a change.
Yeah.
And it's something that Melanie Phillips in our circle last night talked about quite a bit.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, because this is the disruptive or the awakening energy that is part of this is about shaking us out of old habits. So when you're talking about, oh, I'm being triggered by this, or this really is driving me crazy, whatever it is, this is an opportunity to shift that. But the shift does come from, Scorpio is the deep dive. So it's not external, even if it might be triggered or activated by external events. It's an internal process. So exactly what you're saying, it's that place where we can go in, we can look deeply inside, pull out some pieces that don't make us feel comfortable, but it's time to let them go because they're holding us back in some way. And that's why I brought in that Neptunian piece at the end, because there's such a lovely opportunity for compassion for ourselves and for our own process and for our own confronting of the shadow, and how much compassion that takes to do that kind of healing, to do that kind of transformation, to be gentle with ourselves, because the Scorpio energy is really intense. So there's a place where that it just feels like it's like, okay, I can smooth the process if I trust my intuition, or if I express it creatively or compassionately, any of those pieces, to allow this still to take place. Because that's the beauty of this. There's so much energy around, let's do a deep dive. Let's see what we can let go of. How do we move forward, letting some of the old stuff that we don't want to carry forward on this path? This is our time to do it. So all of what you said, I think I've probably just said exactly the same thing again. But yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's worth repeating though, right? Because it still feels, when we go that deeply within ourselves, it still feels foggy. It still feels not necessarily clear. There might still be questions like, why am I quote quote overreacting to this? Or am I overreacting? Is that an appropriate reaction? Like, I think there are lots of challenging things, again, happening in the outside world right now, where a dramatic reaction is considered correct. It's, our society, our culture, our politicians, our leaders, our media are all encouraging us. Yes, you should be outraged. You should be angry. You should be out in the streets waving placards. Whatever, pick your topic, right? Like health, foreign affairs, like politics, all sorts of things. And so what I'm interested in is when you talk about changing or shifting habits, and I think to myself, yeah, like that internal habit of how we think about things, right? We all have habitual thought processes. We all have habitual beliefs, right? That our habit of whom we vote for, our habit of what we believe about a thing. Oh, I don't believe that to be true. Oh, I think that that's absolutely correct, right? Those are all habits. And I find it really interesting that we've been, certainly in Inner Wisdom Circle, we've been working toward working with our shadow increasingly since the summer. Mm-hmm. And yeah. Every guest that we've had has taken us more deeply into the shadow work. So we saw this coming energetically, right? We all felt it. We knew it was coming. And now that it's here, it's a much more interesting and complex energetic exploration than I think I anticipated it was going to be.
Yeah. And you know what, as you were saying that, I was thinking in terms of setting intentions with that Neptunian entry, it's a trine, so it's probably not going to be totally confusing, but I feel like setting intentions without having to have a clear outcome, it's almost like setting the intention just based on a feeling, an intuition, a vision for yourself, but it doesn't even have to be clear. I don't even know what I'm saying, but that, to me, I think there's a place here where...
How Neptunian of you.
Exactly. So that's what I'm sort of thinking as you're setting an intention, and Mars and Uranus want to take direct action, want to shake things up or whatever that is, but there's a place here where the actual intention may not be as clear as you might want it. And maybe the intention is just being open to whatever awakening is going to be on offer, and to accept that and to be able to flow with it and be in some form of flexibility around all the changes, which is going to help with the nervous system, because this would be a nervous system upsetting kind of energy if you're fighting against it. Anyways, yeah, interesting. And I didn't really think about that until we just had this little mini discussion here about that. That may be just part of what this Scorpio new moon can offer in terms of intentions.
Well, that's interesting, because certainly we did take the lead from allowed Zora to really set the theme for our intention this evening. And everybody will see that even though we've kept the intention in the first person, as we always do, our intention has the ability to be really deeply interpreted at an individual level. So we encourage everybody, as always, to do that. So before we There we go. What else? Kind of like jumping. There we go. So before we set our intention, we're going to have our journey. And so I encourage you to sit back, relax, allow yourself some space. And oh, that's so cool. So Helly was just saying that lately her intention is to allow herself to feel awe. Awe. Yeah, like awe and wonder, which is beautiful. And she's using water to support herself, which is very Scorpio.
It is very Scorpio.
Yeah, because of course, Scorpio is our fixed water, which is like the deep pool. That's what I always think of with Scorpio, is not necessarily a large body of water, but a deep and potentially a dark pool, but nothing with leeches. Just want to say that out loud. So I used to spend a lot of time around deep water that had leeches when I was a kid. So we're going to take a few moments to settle in and relax and just notice your breathing and allow yourself to breathe in and out through your nose. So just a natural breath cadence for you. And if it feels right for you, put one or both hands on your belly, just below your belly button. So we want to connect with, and by the way, if you're in a male gendered body, also a womb space. So we're going to connect with our womb energy, that deep, dark energy, just remembering that if you're in a male gendered body, then your creativity that's coming from that womb space might be related to, it could be human children that you have, but it might also be related to your caretaking. It might be related to the productivity of what you do for your work, and it might be related to art or craft of some kind. How it is that you produce things of beauty in the world, making the world an ever more beautiful place. So we want to connect with that and allow the breath to lead us there without leading the breath. So we're going to follow the breath and notice the breath and notice the sensation of the cool dryness of the air as it enters the nostrils. And you can pay attention to kind of the edges of your nostrils, if you wish, as the air enters. And we're going to welcome that air. It's the environment, the atmosphere of Grandmother Earth entering our body, nourishing us, bringing prana, life force energy into the body with each inhalation. And sometimes we can think of the new moon herself as a deep inhalation. Or sometimes she can also be the pause at the end of the exhale. So let's just focus on now the exhale. Again, natural cadence of the breath. We're not trying to lead it anywhere. Just noticing the warmth and the moisture of the exhalation. So bringing your attention to the edges of the nostrils and noticing the breath as it moves in and out of the body, unencumbered. And as we sink into this sensation of unencumbered breath, hand on the belly, on the womb space, connecting to our inner creativity, our inner knowing, our inner awareness. We so often think of our intuition as coming from our third eye, our sixth chakra, which is fair. Certainly lots of extrasensory perception available to us through the third eye, but we're not going to focus on the third eye this evening. Not a lot. We're going to focus on the belly because that is the place below the fourth chakra that feeds the heart chakra and that connects us with the first and second chakras to the earth. And this is a key piece with this deeply transformative, chaotic energy that we're dancing in at the moment. Connecting with the belly, connecting with the womb space, going deep within that creative space of you is such a central feature of how we navigate this time. So allowing the breath to lead you deeper and deeper into the belly, we're going to visualize walking through a wood. It's not nighttime yet, but it's close. The sun is just setting. And because we're in a wood, it feels a little bit darker, a little bit damper than it would if you were out on a hill watching the sunset or at the beach. So right now, we have the trees as our friends, and as we walk through this wood, we make our way toward a body of water. It's not large, but it's very still. And of course, because there's no moon, it's particularly dark, that water. It's not necessarily reflecting any light in the sky. And this is a beautiful body of water to use for scrying. And scrying is a mode of visioning, if you will. You can use it for future visioning, or you can just use it for present moment visioning. And that's what we're going to use it for right now, because one of the key pieces of this energy also is it's encouraging us to be fixed in place. It's encouraging us to be still. And even as Scorpio looks across at its energetic opposite, which is Taurus, Taurus is fixed earth. And so we're working with some fixed earth and some fixed water energy at the moment. In contrast to all of that wild, action-taking, Uranian, Mars, dancing energies, there's lots of movement around us, but what we're doing is finding our own deeper stillness within. And the earth and this water, this deep, dark water, is helping us, supporting us to find that stillness within. And we've all been there, that still point within. If you allow the breath to take you there, if you go and sit perhaps on a rock or a log or right on the ground, right next to the pool, you'll sense that there are things being reflected in that pool. And so as you sink into the center of yourself and find that stillness, you're going to call on your inner wise one. And that inner wise being is going to show up for you in reflection in that pool. And so if you just lean over just a little bit, look into the reflection, and you're going to see yourself, kind of. But then very slowly, your inner wise one is going to show up. And the way your wise one looks may be completely familiar to you. It may also be surprising. Your wise one may be showing up a little bit differently than usual. Maybe they have a gender, maybe they don't. Oftentimes we'll find that the wise one is mixed in gender and can show up in all sorts of different ways. They may be humanoid, but they may not be. Don't discount the wisdom of the rock, the tree, the bird, or the bumblebee. There are many worlds of Grandmother Earth that are available to you to support you. So just surrender to the moment of this stillness, the still earth. There's no wind. The sun has set. There's no moon visible in the sky, though of course she's there for us always. And she's encouraging you to go deeply within yourself and to commune with that wise one. And as you do so, bring to mind just for a moment something in the external world, might have been today, might have been yesterday, fairly recent, something that's niggling at you, something that bothered you, something that enraged you or infuriated you, something that upset you. Can be tiny or big. It's completely up to you, but just bring that to mind. And then as you bring that thing to mind and notice that little bit of upset or that anger or that distress that comes up from that situation, just turn and look at yourself from the perspective of your wise one, as if you were in the pool, watching yourself on the shore. And just notice your countenance, your stance, your attitude to this issue. Simply notice. Notice what part of you is coming forward most obviously. Is it the self-righteous part of you? Is it the victim part of you? Is it the sad Eeyore part of you? Of course, there are many, many aspects to you. So just notice, what is the pervasive attitude that you're holding? Maybe it's a belief. Maybe it's a story that you've been telling yourself for a long time. Maybe it's a story handed down your familial line about what is true and what is not. Whatever it is for you, just notice. And then very gently let it go. Just notice how you've been holding on to a particular attitude. And even if it's just for this moment, allow yourself to release it. And as you do so, come back into your body and observe your wise one and see what they have to say to you, what message. They may speak in words or song or tone, maybe in colors or shapes, sacred geometry. It might be just an idea that pops into your head. It might be a full-on movie. Whatever awareness it is that wise one has for you at this time, allow yourself to receive it through your eyes, through your inner ears, kinesthetically through the feeling in your body, through any pictures that may be showing up in your mind's eye. Any taste sensations. Just notice. And as you sit here in your stillness and your safety, with the firm earth beneath you and this deep pool of water speaking to you, sharing its wisdom with you, take a moment to feel gratitude. Take a moment to just appreciate the beauty and the gift and support that these elements offer you. And know that you can return here anytime. This is a tool that you can use for your own benefit, for your own grounding, for your own awareness. It supports you to release with ease and to be more fully present to yourself without judgment, just noticing. And to gently shift your attitude to any particular thing, even if it's an old story. Allow yourself to receive this new perception. And when you're ready, we're going to set our intention and sit together for 3 minutes, holding this intention from this place of heightened awareness that we've been offered during our time next to this deep, dark pool on this new moon night. My intention is that I fully embody peace within and consciously resonate with harmony for all people and our planet every day. Okay. So we're going to come off of shared screen, and I'm going to pause us here so that we can have a little chat. Hey, and here we are. We've come to the end of our evening together, our time together. Thank you for joining us. And just a reminder that if you are seeking some deeper insights into how these lunar energies are playing out in your life, we encourage you to engage with your personal moon dance and take a look on our website, Tools for Transformation, and you will find this mini course, this self-paced guided course that will help you and support you in your process. So thank you and enjoy your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the 6th of December, which will be our last new moon circle for 2023. See you soon.